Mother's Best Flour brings you Hank Williams.
I got me a feeling called the blues, oh Lord, since my baby said goodbye. Lord, I don't know what I'll do, 'cause all I do is sit and sigh, oh Lord, Louis.
The millers of Mother's Best Flour, Mother's Best Farm Feeds, and Mother's Best Self-Rising Cornmeal bring you the one and only lovesick blues boy, Hank Williams, the Mother's Best music makers, and yours truly, Mother's Best little old boy. Hey, that's me, fellas. Well, howdy.
Howdy.
Or,
How you this morning?
well, what are we getting from the control room? Cues in there this morning?
Huh? The jigger's on a jog, I think.
So is. Somebody better go in there and feed him some Mother's Best biscuits. He looks hungry to me.
He looked to me like he's been fed.
You sing him a tune, Hank,
He
and I'll
don't
go
look
in and...
undersized a bit this morning.
Yeah, that's right. You sing him a tune, I'll go find out what's the matter with him.
All right, sir. Do that. Here's the thing that I put together here a year or so ago. It's on record by one of my closest relatives, Luke the Drifter. Luther, old Luther. I'd like to do it for you. Ain't this the way Luther done it on record? Just a waiting. I wonder what he's waiting for. Let's go, brother. The old maid's a-waiting for leap year to come, and the crooner's just a-waiting to sing. The old cow's standing with the bull durn sign, waiting for the grass to turn green. The barfly's waiting for an easy mark, the hitchhiker's waiting for a ride, the life-termer's waiting for a prison break, and the beachcomber's waiting for the tide. Farmer's daughter waiting for the salesman to take her into town. The city slicker's waiting for the country boy to lay all of his money down. You know, everything comes to a standstill. Nothing seems to make a turn. Worm must be waiting for the early bird. I guess the early bird's waiting for the worm. Nobody wants to do nothing, just waiting to get a finger in the pie. Waiting for a call from a big quiz show, or waiting and hoping for some rich uncle to die. Katie, she's a-waiting at the garden gate, and the moonshiner's waiting at the still. The gambler's still waiting for his ace in the hole, and I guess Jack's still waiting for Jill. Everybody's waiting for something. There ain't nothing seems to turn out right. 'Cause the night shift's waiting for morning, and the burglar's just waiting for night. The congregation waiting for the preacher just waiting for the groom. The groom's just waiting for the June bride, and I guess the June bride's waiting for June. Now the sunflower's waiting for the sunshine, the violet's just waiting for dew, and the bees, they're waiting for honey, and honey, I'm a-waiting for you. Buddy, that's a mess of waiting, ain't it?
Yeah, well, wonder where old Luke is these days. I haven't seen
I
Luke.
don't know. Old Luke's doing pretty good. He's been ill a little here for a while. What?
Jerry said he's coming in town tonight.
Yeah, he'll be here before you know it. You know, Louis, when a woman buys cornmeal, I think she should ask herself these three important questions. One is this cornmeal absolutely clean? Two, will this cornmeal give my bacon the real fresh corn flavor? And three, is this cornmeal easy to use? Now, friends, if you're buying Mother's Best cornmeal, we can tell you the answer to all three of these questions is yes.
That's right. That's right, Hank. The answer is yes. Mother's Best is absolutely clean cornmeal. Yes, Mother's Best will always give your baking that real fresh corn flavor. Yes, Mother's Best is easy to use. Now, let me give you the reasons for these answers. Mother's Best cornmeal is absolutely clean because it is thoroughly washed two ways. Washed by water and washed by air. This is one reason why Mother's Best always gives your baking that real fresh corn flavor. Now you can buy Mother's Best cornmeal regular style, or for easier baking, use self-rising. When you use self-rising, you don't have to add salt, soda, or baking powder. They're already added in, just exactly measured in to assure the same perfect results and to save you time. So if you want cornmeal that's really clean, cornmeal that gives your baking that real fresh corn flavor, cornmeal that's easy to use, you ask your grocer today for Mother's Best cornmeal, regular style or self-rising. Guaranteed or your money back. Here's the man that guarantees it right over here, Hank Williams.
We guarantee everything. It's got the Mother's Best label on it.
Sure do now.
You.
That's the deal.
If it ain't as good or better than any you've ever had, you just send me the label to any of it. And the purchase price, the slip showing what you paid for it. I'll see that you get your money back. B-A-K back.
B-A-K.
J-A-B.
Well, I'll tell you what. If they just send me a plate of hot muffins, I wouldn't worry about the difference.
All right. I want to hear me a little Hawaiian tune this morning, Professor. Let's go back about 10 years, down in Florida down there, when we used to play them big jobs. You remember? Huh? Well. All right, I'll give you the introduction. I ain't even going to call the name of it and see if you know what I'm talking about. You ready? It's in the gear F. Are you ready? Paradise Island.
Before we go any further, I want Sam to come up in and say what he said. Now, come on.
What you say, boy?
Come on, Sam. What was that you said while that music?
Ooka, ooka, ooka.
Ooka, wooka, wooka.
In other words, that means keep it going.
Keep it going. Listen, I thought for a minute Sam was going to climb a coconut tree there.
Did you? Did you hear this miniature Godfrey we got here with his fiddle up here?
Yeah.
Whamming on it, making like the ukulele?
Ukulele.
Yeah. Ukulele.
Ukulele.
Used to have an old boy work for me, Louis, a long time ago. Don used to play, about 10 years ago. Don would play, what was that, the Hawaiian war chant? Yeah. He'd jump up to the mic and say, ooka, hooky, hooka, ooka, 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 ooka. That's all he'd say, ooka, 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 ooka. Like he thought he was a Model T or something, huh?
You sound like one trying to crank up.
Yeah, he said, ooga, 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 ooga. Well, enough for the foolishness. It's hymn time, friends, on our show now. A couple of the boys gathering around, Don and Sid, going to join me on this one. Here's a fine one. When the fire comes down from heaven, Way back in the days of no water covered all this land. Then the great rainbow promise started us on life again. And the good book tells of fire that will fill the earth someday. Then the sinful will be screaming as this earth shall pass away. When the fire comes down from heaven, this old world will melt away. Millions then will cry for mercy, but it will be too late to pray. Oh, this world is at a tremble and it's rocking to and fro. You can read it in the papers, hear it on the radio. In the movies they are showing towns and cities how they blaze. But there's hotter fire a-coming if we follow sin's highway. When the fire comes down from heaven, this old world will melt away. Millions then will cry for mercy, but it will be too late to pray. Texas City, oh how awful was her fate. First she burned and then exploded, now the story we'll relate of the wine coffin in Atlanta, how she burned right to the ground. Of the great fire in Chicago and the dead lay all around. But when the fire comes down from heaven, this old world will melt away. Millions then will cry for mercy, but it will be too late to pray.
Thank you, boys. Well, to Mother's Best, that's the flour, ladies, for the most delicious biscuits your family ever tasted. That's right, the cakes, biscuits, bread, and pastries that you make with Mother's Best are extra fine, extra delicious every time. Mother's Best is finest quality flour, milled for finest baking results. Every sack contains family-tested recipes, too, and a valuable coupon for your complete set of lovely Roseanne silverware. Get Mother's Best enriched flour, plain or self-rising, today.
Just gotta have that gal around. Her biscuits are the best in town. Her pies and cakes beat all the rest, 'cause she bakes them all with Mother's Best.
And don't forget, ladies, if your grocer doesn't have Mother's Best, tell him to call C.B. Ragland Company if he trades in the Nashville trading area, and they'll be glad to send him all the Mother's Best flour that he wants. And believe me, he'll want a lot of it as soon as you folks get to trying it. That's all you got to do.
All you got to do, just taste it, boy.
You know what? I hate to see you, lady, who just won't try another brand of flour other than the one she's using, you know. They don't know what they're missing, do they?
They sure don't. If they ain't used Mother's Best, they don't know what they're missing. But, friends, that clock has caught up with us again this morning. That means we got to get our cheese hoops, our gourds, and our bugles, and our banjers, and get out of here. The good Lord's willing and the creeks don't rise, though. We'll be back full long. Catherine. Catherine, put the biscuits in the oven. Break the eggs in the skillet. Bocephus, I'll be there directly. Louis?
Friends, your local Mother's Best feed dealer can give you the best of service on the finest feeds on the market. He knows what these feeds can do because Mother's Best feeds are all tested and proved. Mother's Best starting mash with C87 is a good example. This scientifically balanced chick starter has been thoroughly tested at the Mother's Best test farm. And the tests show that Mother's Best starting mash with C87 promotes up to 10% faster growth on 4% less feed. You can just sit down and figure that out now. It's a complete feed fortified with natural vitamin B12 and antibiotic feed supplement. Mother's Best starting mash with C87 gives chicks everything they need for fast, sound growth, more vigor, good health, and early maturity. Mother's Best starting mash is sold only by qualified feed dealers. The Mother's Best dealer in Murfreesboro, Tennessee is Ranson Brothers Feed Store, and in McMinnville, Tennessee, it's the Hillis Hardware. You folks around that neighborhood, look them up, will you? And be sure and look for us tomorrow morning at 7:15. We'll all be here. Now, until then, this is Cousin Louie Buck saying the best of everything to you, and that's Mother's Best. Goodbye.